Hi, how's everyone doing? Made it through the week. That's great. I don't know about you guys. It's been mainly cold. We had like one kind of warmer day, which was nice. And then it all just went back to being cold again. It is January. It should be cold. I get that. It should. But still, you kind of hit that like, oh, I'm now longing for summer. We always want the like place we're not. Unless it's like fall or like that nice time in spring. I could stay in those times kind of forever. It's great weather. I might just need to find a place to live where like that is the very consistent weather. That might make sense one day. Put that in the noggin, come back to it later. Anyhow, since it is cold, and since, you know, one of the things we eat when it's cold is soup, what we're making today is not soup at this point in time. We're going to be making stock that you can use for soups, you know, throughout the season. So let's get to it. It's time for another episode of Cooking with Kaitlin. That's me. Enjoy. All right, if you'll remember, we've been kind of freezing stuff for a while. We're just going to dump in. We've got ham bone, a little bit extra ham, some peelings and skins and such that we're going to do in there, but we're also going to be adding in some fresher veggies and whatnot and some herbs. So we're going to do the beauty of the onion stuff, aside from the fact that we just have to take off the outer kind of peel, just going to quarter a few onions. See, we'll just take off the outer peel, toss them in, and I'll move you over there to see once we get past just dumping the more fresh chopped veggies in there. See, we're just doing that. Right. I'll just show you a couple of like, you know, kind of chopping one of each. Also got a carrot. Got a couple carrots actually. Put that in there. We'll add some celery, more than just, oh, and I guess I have to wash. I'll just chop off the base. I've washed the roast. Here we go. And we're just going to add in just like kind of one potato. So I've got potato skins. You don't want too much, it can cloud up, but a little bit's not bad, just a little starch. Hang on, I forgot one thing. All right, now we're on to more of our aromatics. We've got a clove of garlic, fresh garlic. You just kind of press down, at least get the little cloves out, or a whole thing of garlic, and then get the cloves out. Depending on what you've got, to kind of remove their outer casings. There's various ways to do it. We're just getting them all out of there. Probably don't need all of them, but just getting them all out. All right, I'll just show you one. I've got this. My aunts and uncles gave it to me. It's nice. You just roll it on a surface and it's supposed to take off. It usually does. Don't know what I'm not. Maybe I need to do a few at a time. It's been a little while since I've used it, so maybe that's my problem. And that is moving. So yeah, so then it's able to come off. Good, I got that stuff off there. And we're just gonna plop them in there. I'll check back in a sec. All right, so I've put about 5 or 6 in there. I'm just gonna show you what to do if you don't have a special tool. Just cut off that little head, then you should be able to kind of just easily peel the rest by finger. It's a little tedious, but not too bad. And that's got a little weird. I'm gonna just cut that off. Okay. All right. Hang on. All right. I think you guys can, there we go. See? All right, so I've been adding quarts of water. 1 quart is 4 cups. This is quart 5 we're adding. We're just barely covered and I need some more. So I'm gonna add some more water. I'm gonna fill up just 2 cups worth, so half a quart, and see. So you want it just covered, and we're gonna add some things, so we'll see if we need it. So we're at 5.5 quarts right now, which is a lot. All right, now we're gonna be adding our herbs. So we've got, I'm gonna do 2 bay leaves. Do some sea salt. It may seem like a lot, but it's really probably only about 2 to 3 tablespoons, which, considering kind of everything it's doing, it's not a lot. We might even wind up adding a little more. So we'll see. Also adding some sprigs of thyme. To it. It's good in there. Adding whole black peppercorns. About a tablespoon and a half's worth. Where's the other thing? There it is. We're also adding some fresh parsley that we have rinsed. Oh, and that flew everywhere. That's okay. Yeah, we'll probably have to add the other 2 cups to make it 6 quarts total, but we'll get to that in a sec. And then just gonna add a couple little cloves. These little bits that kind of flew everywhere. Onto there. All right, we're gonna get 2 more cups to make it a total of 6 quarts straight. There we go, because you want it just kind of just covered. And then we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we'll turn it down to simmer. So I'm going to cover it while we're doing that, and I'll check back once it's been brought to a boil. All right, so we're getting close to boiling. Did take the top off for just a second to show you guys. But we're getting very close to it being at boiling so that we can then turn it down and reduce it to a simmer. It's smelling really good. If you remember, we had some apple in there from when we made that apple cheddar squash soup last week. Sorry. Days blur. And I'm reminded that I'm older than I think I am sometimes, because that's what they do. But I figured apples would be okay, because apple and pork products usually pair pretty well together. Think like applewood smoked bacon, pork chops and applesauce, stuff like that. So I figured the apple core and apple peelings would be fine in there. From the smell of it, you can smell just a hint of it, which is nice. So we're just gonna give it a few, however many more minutes it needs to get to boiling. And then we're gonna reduce it to a simmer. So check back then. All right, so it's reached a boil. So we're gonna take it down, turn the heat down lower to bring it down to a simmer. And I read back and forth about whether you cover it back up once you've got it to a simmer or not. And a lot of what I read that makes sense to me anyway, is that if you cover it, it's likely to trap more heat, bring it back to boiling, which is not the point. That what you want is to kind of keep that control. So if it's at the simmer with it open, then you keep it there. Trying to get those apples down in there. So that's what we're doing. So we've got it back down to kind of more of a simmer. Gonna leave it there, and I'm just gonna check on it about every half hour, and as it's gonna boil and kind of reduce down with the flavor. That's what we're doing here, is boiling it to get that flavor kind of in and out of everything we put in there and into the liquid. But water boils and becomes air, as we see. So we're just gonna keep topping off with water. I'm gonna check about every 20-30 minutes and top off with water as needed. I'll film at least one of those times, but we'll check back then. It's just adding just a little water to kind of just top off, make sure most stuff's covered. But it's smelling really good. It's been going for about 45-50 minutes now. And stock you're supposed to boil, kind of read anywhere, but I looked at one from the people who've been to like culinary school, and while my process isn't exactly as pure to form as theirs, they do say when doing stuff with pork bones, you want to air more towards the 4 to 5 hours for simmering. So we've still got a few hours left to go, and then we'll be to the straining and cooling and all process. Yay! So it's been simmering and all for right around 5 hours now. And now it's time we're going to get these out. So I'm going to tell you things you can do. It's not like you could eat like this onion. You're not going to eat this onion. But what you can do with the vegetables themselves is put them in your blender and puree them, and you can add them to sauces or soups. We're probably going to put ours in the freezer for when we need it and can do that. The herbs are going to just need to come out, and the ham bone that we had in there is also just going to need to come out, and those will just have to be discarded. But that way you've got less waste, because you've got stuff, you could still puree that down. It'll go just fine. We've done that before. I've shown you guys. Toss some pureed veggies into, a pasta sauce. So I'm going to do that. These handles are ridiculously hot even with an oven mitt on, so I'm going to let this cool for just a smidge. And then we'll strain all of it, and I'll show you. Okay. All right. So it's been cooling. We're skimming off the fat we can see that's collecting here at the top. And there may still be some, it's not the finest skimming methods. I don't have a fine mesh sieve and all that professionals would have, but able to see some of it, and I know some of it will likely collect at the top. When it gets, I'm going to refrigerate first. I've got a lot obviously here. We're not going to use it all right away, so it will wind up in the freezer. But I'm going to refrigerate first, because when you refrigerate and it cools in that sense, it all collects and hardens at the top, and then you can take that off and get it away. I think that's kind of a safer bet. So let me hang tight for 1 sec. All right. So I've got a bigger measuring cup down here. I've put a cloth. And this is kind of if you don't have the professional tools, but you've got these things, way you do it. Just to get out kind of any little minor impurities. I'm just going to let it see it's just draining through. And I like all my dishcloths. I did that KonMari thing a while back, so I enjoy all of them. This is just the best one for doing stuff like this. So it gets kind of reserved for it. I hope it knows how special it is to be that one. So just letting it drain through. I'm just going to show you kind of after. Just don't want any of it spilling out on me. Let's see. And see, there it is. Nice. It's got that. It's mainly clear. What's as clear as like beef broth. Would be a little darker than chicken broth, so it definitely falls more into kind of the beef broth zone. But that's good. I'm going to do this with the rest of it in case I forget to tune back in. That is our stock. Obviously, use what you want in the moment, but freeze the rest. It can last, everything I've read, so that it can last in the freezer up to 5 or 6 months. So that will definitely get us through winter. Bon appetit in case I forget.